Have you ever ended a long day feeling completely drained? But when you look back, you can't really point to what you actually did. You were busy. You were moving. You answered messages, checked things off, maybe even felt productive for a moment. But deep down, nothing really changed. You're not alone. Most people in the modern world are trapped in a strange paradox. We've never been busier, but somehow we've never felt further behind. And the reason isn't laziness. It isn't lack of willpower. It's because your brain doesn't care about progress. It cares about the illusion of progress. Your brain evolved to reward you for survival, not success. So when you look productive, even if it's fake, it rewards you with a chemical called dopamine. That hit makes you feel like you're moving forward, even when you're just walking in circles. In this video, we'll explore 3 powerful psychological traps that make you feel productive while keeping you stuck. And by the end, you'll see exactly how to break free, how to stop working for your brain and start working with it. So let's begin with the first trap, the one that feels the most innocent, because it actually feels good. The action trap. Imagine this. It's a Monday morning. You sit down at your desk with a fresh cup of coffee, ready to start that big project you've been delaying for weeks. You open your laptop, but before you begin, you think, let me clean my workspace first. You tidy up, organize your files, color code your folders, rename your drives. Then you think, maybe I should make a plan before I start. You open a to-do app, make sections, add emojis, even set cute reminders. 2 hours later, you lean back and feel strangely satisfied. You haven't started the project, but you feel accomplished. That's the action trap. Your brain loves visible activity. It doesn't care whether the action moves you closer to your goal. It just cares that something happened. Every small visible motion, cleaning, organizing, scheduling, releases dopamine. Your brain can't tell the difference between real progress and pretend progress. It's why we confuse movement with momentum. We say, at least I'm doing something. But if that something doesn't change your reality, you're just decorating the cage you're trapped in. The trap feels productive. It's seductive. Because doing anything feels better than doing nothing. But the truth is, action alone isn't growth. The illusion of progress. Think about this. We are addicted to checkboxes. We love to-do lists because they look like progress. Every time you tick a box, your brain releases a mini reward. But here's the trick. It doesn't care which box you tick. You can spend an entire day checking off the easiest tasks, sending one email, editing one tiny file, changing one color in a PowerPoint, and still feel like a hero. But you've avoided the hard thing, the real work that actually moves your life forward. That's the illusion of progress. It's not evil. It's not even conscious. It's your brain's ancient survival mechanism, hijacked by the modern world. Thousands of years ago, finishing small tasks was survival. Gathering berries, fixing shelter, small visible actions mattered. But today, the same wiring tricks you. You feel safe when you act. You feel in control when you move. But in reality, you're just spinning your mental wheels. How to escape the action trap? So how do you escape this? You can't turn off the brain's reward system, but you can redirect it. Instead of rewarding yourself for action, start rewarding yourself for impact. Here's a simple test. Before you start any task, ask yourself, greater than if I stopped here, would anything real change? If the answer is no, the task might just be motion, not progress. Want a quick hack? Create a result list instead of a to-do list. Every morning, write down 3 concrete results you want to have by the end of the day. Things that will exist only because of your effort. Then measure your day by that, not by how many boxes you ticked. When you shift from action-based to impact-based thinking, your brain slowly learns the difference between feeling productive and being productive. And here's the surprising part. At first, it feels worse. Real work, deep work, doesn't give instant dopamine hits. It's quiet, it's slow, it's uncomfortable. That's why most people avoid it. But give it time. Because once your brain gets used to delayed satisfaction, that's when you start creating things that last. A book, a business, a healthier version of yourself. Those don't come from doing more. They come from doing less, but doing the right things deeply. Why we love busy work. Let's dig a bit deeper. Why does your brain love busy work so much? Psychologists call it cognitive ease. Your brain is designed to save energy. When it finds a simple, repetitive action that feels useful, it rewards you because it's easy, familiar, and safe. Starting something meaningful, writing that proposal, building that skill, facing that difficult conversation, triggers cognitive strain. Your brain interprets strain as danger, so it gently nudges you toward easy wins. Rearrange your desk, refresh your inbox, plan instead of act. It feels right. It feels responsible. But it's avoidance disguised as productivity. It's not that you don't have time. It's that your brain wants comfort, not challenge. And here's the twist. The more intelligent and organized you are, the better you get at rationalizing your busy work. You'll convince yourself you're preparing. You'll say, I'm not procrastinating, I'm optimizing. But deep down, preparation becomes the prison. Real progress begins the moment you step into uncertainty, when you do something that could fail. The comfort productivity paradox. Here's something strange. The moments you feel least productive are often the moments you're actually growing the most. When you struggle to understand something complex, when you sit in silence trying to write a paragraph that just won't come out, when you stare at your screen and feel uncomfortable, uncertain, maybe even stupid. That's not failure, that's friction. The sign your brain is rewiring itself. Comfort means you're repeating what you already know. Discomfort means you're learning something new. So if your work always feels smooth, predictable, efficient, you're probably not growing. The action trap promises comfort. Real productivity demands friction. Mini reflection exercise. Let's try a small thought experiment. Think back to a week when you felt incredibly productive. Maybe you finished your checklist every day, answered all your emails, felt on top of things. Now ask yourself, what actually changed in your life that week? Did you move closer to your long-term goal? Did anything new exist because of your effort? Now think about another week. A week where you felt lost, overwhelmed, uncertain. Maybe you struggled with something deep, something uncomfortable. If you look closer, that might be the week you actually grew. Growth feels messy, progress feels boring, but they often live in the same place, the place your brain tries hardest to avoid. Recap of the first trap. So let's summarize it. Your brain loves action because it's easy to measure. But measurable doesn't mean meaningful. When you mistake motion for momentum, you stay trapped in activity without progress. To break free, shift your focus from doing more to creating more. Stop rewarding busyness. Start rewarding impact. Because in the end, success isn't about how much you did. It's about what changed because you did it. Have you ever noticed how you can scroll for hours, read dozens of quotes, watch 10 motivational videos, and still feel stuck? You nod your head. You feel inspired. You think, yeah, I needed that. And yet the next day, nothing changes. That's not because you're lazy or unmotivated. It's because you're trapped in the second psychological loop of false productivity. Input addiction. Your brain loves learning, but it loves consuming more than creating. The learning loop. Let's say you decide to improve your life. You open YouTube, search how to be more focused, and boom, you find a 15-minute video that feels like it changes everything. You take notes, you feel smarter. You even post a quote about discipline on your story. But when it's time to apply what you learned, suddenly you're not ready yet. So you watch another video, and another, and another. Each one gives you a tiny hit of synthetic progress. You're learning, right? You're not wasting time. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Learning doesn't equal progress. In fact, psychologists call this the illusion of competence. Your brain rewards the feeling of understanding as if you've actually achieved something. It releases dopamine just like it does when you take action, even though nothing real has happened yet. It's why people can read 50 self-help books and still feel lost. Because understanding something intellectually isn't the same as living it emotionally. Why input feels safer than action? There's another reason we get addicted to information. It feels safe. Information is predictable. It can't reject you. It can't fail. Watching others do the work lets you feel like you're part of their success without taking the risk yourself. Psychologists call this vicarious reinforcement. When your brain rewards you for watching someone else succeed as if you did. That's why watching success stories feels so good. Your brain can't tell the difference between imagined progress and real progress. So instead of writing your own story, you get lost reading everyone else's. The knowledge trap. Let's test something. How many times have you said to yourself, I just need to learn a little more before I start? Maybe it's a business idea, a YouTube channel, a language you want to learn. You've spent weeks researching, planning, preparing, and still you're not ready. That's the knowledge trap. Your brain convinces you that more information will finally make you confident enough to act. But here's the paradox. Confidence doesn't precede action. It comes from action. You can't think your way into clarity. You have to move your way into it, from input to implementation. So how do you fix it? You don't have to stop learning. You just have to link learning to doing. Every time you consume something, ask, what one action can I take today to apply this? If the answer is nothing, then the learning is just entertainment. The best learners aren't the ones who know the most. They're the ones who apply the fastest. Think about it. Most of history's breakthroughs didn't come from people who waited until they were ready. They came from people who acted before they felt qualified and learned through doing. The confidence loop. There's a beautiful loop hidden inside this idea. When you act, even clumsily, you gain real feedback. Feedback creates learning. Learning creates improvement. Improvement builds confidence. Confidence inspires more action. That's the confidence loop, and it only starts when you move. But when you stay stuck in the learning loop, it goes the other way. Consume, feel smart, avoid risk, stay the same, need more input, consume again. You end up running on the same mental treadmill, burning energy, going nowhere. Why we love collecting information? Here's something fascinating from neuroscience. Every time you learn a new fact, your brain gets a quick burst of dopamine, the same pleasure chemical you get from eating sugar or receiving likes online. That's why you can scroll through educational TikToks or watch deep YouTube videos for hours. You feel like you're improving. Your brain literally rewards you for learning, even if you never use it. It's called the knowledge reward system, and it's a survival feature. Early humans who sought information about weather, predators, food, survived longer. So evolution wired your brain to crave information. But in the digital age, that wiring becomes your biggest trap because the amount of information available now is infinite, and your brain can't tell when to stop. How to outsmart input addiction. To escape, you have to train your brain to value output over input. Here's a method that works shockingly well. Every time you consume something, a video, a podcast, a quote, immediately teach it back. Tell a friend, write a summary, create something from it. Why? Because teaching forces your brain to organize knowledge, turning short-term memory into long-term understanding. This is called the generation effect. When you generate your own version of what you learn, your brain actually retains it, and you own it. The build rule. Let's go further. Every week, choose one thing to build. A system, a note, a story, a small project. Doesn't matter what. What matters is that it's tangible. Your goal isn't to know more, it's to create more. You'll realize something beautiful. When you start building, learning suddenly becomes exciting again because it has context. You're no longer chasing knowledge for comfort. You're using it for construction. And slowly your identity shifts. You stop being a collector of ideas and become a creator of them. That's the difference between people who talk about what they want to do and people who become what they want to be. Why knowledge without action feeds fear. Let's talk about something most people don't realize. The more knowledge you gather without using it, the more your fear of failure grows. Because with every new piece of information, you raise your expectations of yourself. You think, I've learned so much. I should be great at this by now. But you're not because you haven't practiced, and that gap between knowledge and skill becomes painful. It's called the intention-action gap, and it's one of the biggest sources of anxiety in modern life. We know more than ever, but we do less than ever. Our brains are overloaded with potential, starving for proof. The cure isn't more input. It's small, messy, imperfect output. Reflection, the weight of information. Let's reflect for a moment. Imagine you spent a year consuming the best podcasts, reading the most brilliant books, watching all the motivational content. Now imagine someone else who only read one book, but applied every chapter to their real life. Who's further ahead after a year? It's not the one who knows more. It's the one who used more. Because transformation doesn't come from knowledge. It comes from integration. Every piece of wisdom you don't use becomes mental clutter, a weight you carry disguised as preparation. So if you ever feel overwhelmed, maybe you don't need to learn more. Maybe you just need to act on what you already know. Recap of the second trap. Let's summarize. Your brain rewards learning because it feels safe, easy, and rewarding. But when you stay in learning mode forever, you get stuck in input addiction. You confuse knowledge for progress, and dopamine becomes your teacher, not experience. To escape, build before you're ready. Use what you learn immediately. Create, teach, apply, and let your confidence grow from doing, not knowing. Because the goal isn't to collect information. The goal is to collect evidence. Evidence that you're becoming the person you're learning about.